Okay, great. We're live. Hi, Ben. Thanks for joining me today to talk about your experience with Betsniper. How you going?
Good. Hi Max, how you going?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. So, do you want to start off by telling me a bit about what were you like betting before Betsniper, or what's kind of your background in betting?
So I was never like a degenerate bettor. I was never doing crazy bets. I was maybe placing small amounts on NBA occasionally because I'm a Grizzlies fan.
Uh,
And then one of my mates put me onto match betting, so like placing on promotions and claiming bonus bets.
yeah,
And that was pretty good for a while, making like consistent money. But as you do, you get banned by the or promo banned by the bookies, and eventually had to move on from that. So I was figuring
as,
out how
as
to
we
like,
all as we all have to do eventually.
yeah. So that was a bit unfortunate. That was good money, but not. I couldn't scale it to a large amount
Yeah,
just because there's only so many promotions, so many accounts you can have.
yeah.
Um, but then I had to figure out how to make money through value betting, and I've kind of figured that out as well, and started doing a bit of that. But there was no tools. I started with StatMate, but that was one of the apps that I initially started with. They had some good comparisons, but it was it's a very surface level
Yeah.
still. And then I think it was one of my friends said he started using Betsniper, and I was like, okay, like I'll give it a go. Like odd comparisons and like a few tools there that seemed interesting, and especially because I like it takes so long checking all the different odds on all the different bookies. So that was probably the first thing that I was like, okay, that seems useful. Um, and then I realized that there's actually a lot more to value betting than I first thought. Um, so yeah, that was kind of how I transitioned between those stages of betting.
Okay, and then so now, how are you actually using Betsniper? Like, what tools are you using to do your value betting?
So I only bet on sports that I know, just because
Yeah,
even though there is like EV betting, you still need to have an understanding of the sport. So I bet on footy, basketball, and a bit of NFL occasionally.
yeah,
But basketball and footy are my two main sports. Uh, in terms of the features I use, obviously I do a bit of EV betting, but also a bit of like analytical EV betting. So
yeah,
some of the tools I use is, for example, for footy, because there's not that many unders and overs. I find market EV can find some good value. So like finding some errors in the market where the bookies have mispriced or whatnot. Market EV is good at finding those at value. Um, for the analytical, I like using the prop tool, um, especially early week. Obviously, you can get banned early week, but I find that using the role change sometimes they don't price that in, so that's a definitely useful tool. Um, I would say, yeah, just the prop tool in general is good for analytical betting, which is the 50% that I do.
yeah.
Now the 50% is EV betting, so just looking at the arbitrage page as well, you can find that one side is usually value, but sometimes you're not sure. But I got some like rules where particular bookies are usually wrong, other
Yeah.
bookies are usually right, so that works as well.
So with arbitrage,
Even
you don't hedge out your bet. You just take the value side.
well, because for me it's like for the arbitrage, yeah, you can do both sides. There's usually one side with more value, and
Yeah,
that's higher expected value overall, or like over time.
yeah,
But yeah, occasionally I will hedge, but like to make a good profit, you have to place like a decent amount, and that usually will get you banned. So
yeah. No, I think it's a more riskier strategy, but taking the value side is definitely a better long-term profitable
yeah,
strategy.
if I place lots of bets, then it'll make more money in the long term. So
Yeah, nice.
um, and also I've been using the line out EV as well for
Yeah,
footy.
yeah.
Um, so that's been useful.
And what would you say is kind of, I guess, your favorite feature from your experience using Betsniper?
I'm trying to think. I think the positional change, the role change is actually really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that before.
yeah,
Um, just some of the even the group markets, like the projections can be very useful sometimes with the group markets. Like
yeah,
there's some actually some very good value there. So I've been
yeah.
using that recently. Um, I think yeah, the line out EV is really good as well, just to get like some positive EV
Yeah.
easily, very easily.
Yeah, as you were saying, like
Very
with
easy tool.
footy, you've actually really got to hunt for your value as opposed to basketball, where there's so many
Yeah,
EV opportunities. But with a bit of knowledge of the sport and some data tools like Market EV to quickly show you where there could be mispricings or the role changes, where that's where you can find alpha in footy. So you kind of got to be adaptable to be able to be profitable, 12 months of the year, because NBA only goes for so long.
yeah,
So it's good to be able to combine a bottoms up approach, which sounds like you do for footy, and then a top down, or more of a top down approach for basketball. And then, did you have any results that you were able to share, like just anecdotally, like how you've been going, like
yeah.
in the last few months or years?
So like when I first started, I wasn't tracking that much.
Yeah,
But I knew I was making money. But then after like probably 3 4 months, I was like, I need to start tracking just so I've got a better gauge of what I'm making. Um, I know that in the last year, I stopped tracking recently just because I went away overseas for a bit. So
yeah,
it's been on a bit of a break for a month or so. But from before I went on holidays to the year, yeah, like a year of betting, I think I made about 60 grand, 65 grand.
very good. And would you say how much of that would you say is like your bottoms up, your own analysis, and how much of that is kind of top down? Just roughly, what would you kind of do the split at?
Because it's actually interesting because I'd say I like Betsniper definitely helps with that. I'd say without it, I probably would have made half the amount.
Yeah,
Just because my other methods include like checking the NBA news and updating as soon as it
yeah,
comes out. You got like the app, and
yeah,
so that's kind of like news EV. But
yeah,
at the same time, Betsniper helps find the best odds when I'm getting that news like on the
yeah,
spot instead of having to look through and then the odds have already changed. So yeah, I'd say it definitely helped with like a lot of the EV betting get on a larger scale to make more money. Whereas match betting was like consistently probably $200 $300 a week.
yeah,
EV betting can be up and down, but it's in the long term it's a um, positive correlation. But I think I've had 2 or 3 negative weeks in the past year, so
yeah.
still pretty consistent if you're doing it like enough bets, I think.
Yeah, no, those are awesome results, and just the ability to be able to do it without promotion is just what's so important, because
Yeah,
promotions come and go, and they're only getting worse over time
yeah,
as bookies kind of like get rid of them. So no, those are amazing results, and at the end of the day, like if you want to make money betting, it's all about just having the tools, right, the right data, the right information, and if you can move the quickest and get the best price every time, even if it's just getting an extra 5 cents because you're
yeah,
playing at such big volumes, that's literally the difference between making 30 grand and 60 grand. It really does come down to just having the tools, and so having just Betsniper be able to do most of it for you is really cool to hear. Okay, and just to finish things up, last thing is, if who would you recommend Betsniper to, and then if there was someone who was kind of sitting on the fence, what would you kind of say to them about the tool?
I'd recommend Betsniper to someone who firstly I wouldn't recommend it to someone who betting on a random sport you don't know
Yeah,
necessarily, just because like there is value, but you still need to have an understanding of the sport. So if you understand the sport and a little bit of understanding of risk and probability, then it's an easy way to make money.
yeah,
So yeah, it's not super hard, but at the same time you still have to have discipline. Like someone who's disciplined with their money, you can't have someone who's kind of uh bases their bets off emotion.
yeah,
Betsniper will teach you that, but at the same time, it's still a self-control thing. You still need to have like your rules that you go by, your stakes that you apply, and not get emotional about bets. I know a lot of people that will like watch the game and get really mad when their bet doesn't hit. You gotta get the emotion out, and it's just it's a
100%.
process. It's not a bet.
Yeah, once you know that your edge is real, it's all about just keeping a cool head and trusting the
Yeah.
process. And so, if someone was a bit hesitant about, I guess, maybe the price of the subscription, what would you kind of say to them?
So like obviously $80 is a decent amount for someone like who doesn't bet on the regular.
Yeah,
But Like I'll make that back in one day easily.
Yeah.
Like on a betting day, I can make that back 5 times, 6 times. So in the end, it's good value for me. It's good value for someone who's placing a decent amount of money. But like I think if you're placing a cash flow above $300, $400 a week, then it's probably a good investment. But like, yeah, obviously if you're placing $5, probably just you should start with that as a training method, but eventually you want to increase that up just because
Yeah.
that is an investment at the end of the day.
Yeah. And, if you're serious about betting, you also
You have
want
to be placing higher stakes to,
and you want to protect your time as well. You don't, you're wasting
Yeah.
time. So I find that it's good for one, it can directly make you money, but it saves you so much time with having to do research
Yeah, for sure.
and time is money at the end of the day. So I always like to think about how much time it can save someone like yourself.
The way I could also think about it is one decent arbitrage bet and it's paid for.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay, well, awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Ben. Really appreciate sharing your thoughts and keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.